In a world where trust is shattered and love is tested, one channel dares to uncover the untold stories of heartbreak and betrayal. Welcome to Heartbreak Chronicles, where real-life tales of infidelity are unraveled, secrets exposed, and lives forever changed. Join us as we navigate the complex world of relationships, offering support, understanding, and a place for those who have faced the pain of betrayal. Subscribe to Heartbreak Chronicles now, because every story deserves to be told, and every heartbreak deserves to be heard. Story 1. My husband gave me and sty. My husband and I have been together since we were 17 and 16. We have been married for 2 years. Our relationship has been far from perfect, but our love and companionship has always outweighed the struggles. Back in 2020 we were newly engaged and I found out he had made a Tinder account. I was devastated, completely blindsided. I was naive to think he wasn't capable of something like that. He swore he never went through with meeting anyone in person and I believed him, but it gutted me. We spent most of 2020 separated and I made an ultimatum for him to seek therapy and possibly be medicated for his untreated ADHD. I made the choice to work on forgiving him and we proceeded to marry the next year. Again, things weren't perfect but they were hopeful. He never gave much effort into the therapy or treating his ADHD. Things slipped back into the same routine. My trust was broken but not destroyed. I truly thought that because he saw how much he hurt me he couldn't ever bring himself to put me through that again. The dichotomy of his behavior is what makes things so tricky. On one hand, he treats me so well. He is kind, patient, tolerant, and so loving. He treats me like the love of his life. More than that, we are best friends. We get along so easily and fluidly. But on the other side of the coin he falls short on big things. But because our everyday life is comfortable and enjoyable I looked past it in naive hope he would just one day get it. Last week I went in for a routine wellness exam which included a pap smear. Today I received a call with my results saying I had HPV. After telling my husband he admitted to sleeping with 3 different women within the last year, the last unprotected. He says the last time was 6 months ago but 2 weeks ago STI symptoms began showing and he went to the doctor who said it was chlamydia. They gave him medicine, which he then proceeded to secretly give to me to prevent me from knowing if I had been infected. So here we are. I'm feeling so many things, but I'm struggling the most with feeling pathetic. I feel so codependent and attached to him that I pity him for ruining our lives. Because we've grown up together everything is intertwined. Our house, our finances, everything. He's all I've ever known. He's been my biggest rock and support. And now I'm stripped of what feels like my entire world. I feel so stupid for even entertaining the idea of giving another chance, but it is the default feeling I think. I don't know if I want to stay with him because I love him or because I love our life and don't know any differently. I'm scared of being alone but I'm not horrified by it. I think I'm still in the denial phase honestly. I know in my heart if we divorced I would be okay. But right now I feel so hesitant to give up everything I've ever worked for in our relationship. How stupid is that? How effing sad. To put so much energy into something and have it torched in front of your face, only to be the one to try and put it out and salvage it. He says he loves me and wants to be with me forever. That I'm his person and his whole world. His only friend. He admits to struggling with impulse control and after his last sexual encounter he got rid of his social media and changed his job to a strictly male environment to combat that, but still actively decided to ignore the root of the issue and try to continue hiding his past infidelity from me. He says he knows he needs to work a lot on himself to have me even consider reconciliation. So we will be separated in the meantime while I process things. I see my therapist on Monday. So here we are. I don't even know if this post is coherent. I've been running on fumes the past 24 hours. I know it's so hard to know without the nuances of our relationship, but I just need to hear anyone else's perspective. I know outside looking in how stupid I am to still love him and hold out any semblance of hope. But if you've been through it you know how hard it is. If you've read this far, thank you and please be gentle. Story 2. Staying with my cheating wife has proven to be the worst decision I have ever made. I don't wish this on anyone. So I have been with my wife for 11 years. Most of that time we have been married. I want to tell you my experiences with a cheater and how this affected me. I met my wife in 2008. She was the ex of a mutual friend and I had just gotten out of a 3-year on-off-again relationship which had been one of the most difficult emotionally for reasons that I will mention later. I met her on 6/6/2008. She was 21 and lived with her mother. I was 28 and also lived at home. She had a child that was about 4 that she had with an ex in high school. Although she had a jed she was going to school and working so she seemed like she had a good head on her shoulders. The first day that we met we had sex. I wasn't looking for a relationship and didn't take my dealings with her seriously after that. A few days after we met and had sex, she started telling me she loved me. In my naivete I still didn't take any of this seriously and didn't plan to really be with her in a relationship. On 7/4/2008 she told me she was pregnant. I was shocked but oddly happy. My best friend had just had a baby with his wife. The woman with whom I was with on-off had gotten pregnant twice but neither made it to term. In hindsight I realized how much I wanted my own family. I would later discover my big mistake was telling my wife that. My best friend didn't believe she was pregnant. He didn't think the timeline added up, and ironically she lived down the street from him and he had once spotted her in a compromising position with some other guy. After 2 weeks of believing she was pregnant, I asked to see a positive pregnancy test. She very much fought me on that, and that was red flag number 4 by this point. Later that night she called one of my friends and told him that she had miscarried. She took a pregnancy test later that week and it was negative. She had lied. Less than a month after that she got pregnant for real. Apparently I had impregnated her during the time that I thought she was already pregnant. Wanting to do the right thing, I proposed to her, and next thing you know I am married with a child on the way less than 6 months after meeting this girl I knew almost nothing about. That would prove to be my downfall. Shortly after we married there were strange phone calls from guys who claimed they worked with her and told me they were having sex with her. She claimed that they were sexually harassing her and that one of her male coworkers had physically assaulted her by lifting her up and telling her they would never stop harassing her. Stupid, I know. I wanted to believe her, so I ignored it. After we married I moved us into an apartment. A few months later I ended up needing to get emergency surgery, so I was in the hospital for a few days. She acted as though she wouldn't be able to stay alone in the apartment, and coincidentally a friend of mine offered to stay at our apartment for the night as it was on his way to a place he had to be the next day. I didn't have problems with this, but she would later tell me that he crawled into bed with her and tried to have sex with her. That friend is now in prison, so I can't really ask him about it, but it makes me wonder how true that story was. My other friends believe they had sex. She later quit the other job and started working at a fitness club. I caught her one night texting one of her coworkers who was saying sexual things to her. She denied any wrongdoing and again claimed that she was being sexually harassed by this man. I offered to go to her boss with her and discuss the situation, as she claimed they were in a fire escape alone together and he forced her to sit down on his lap. Crazy, I know. The day I went to meet with her boss, we were about to go inside when she suddenly got afraid and said she wanted to talk to her boss herself without me there. I agree and wait in the car. She never told me what transpired. By this time she had gotten pregnant again, and this was only 2010. She had dropped out of school not long after we met, and the daughter she had never moved in with us and is still being raised by her mother. She ended up getting a job at a hospital after training as a medical assistant. In 2011 my best friend told me that she had been sexting him all week and saying that she wants to be with him. She was also telling him that she was in love with him. Crazy, I know. I confront her and she denies it at first, but he tells her that he told me everything she said and did, and then she starts going full crazy. She claims she still loves me and everything else, but apparently even her mother knew that she always had a thing for my best friend. The next day she fakes suicides by lightly cutting her wrists with a kitchen knife in front of our young children. I take her back. Did I mention she has BPD? Fast forward to 2014 and from here things are going to go a bit faster. In 2014 she had an affair with another coworker. Texts, pictures, videos, phone calls, whatever. I read FB messages where she tells people she is falling in love with this guy. Later she tells me it ended because he had a girlfriend already and didn't want to commit. She glosses over the fact that she was planning to move out with him and was looking for apartments in the area for them to live. I take her back. In 2015 she actually had an affair with my best friend. This one lasts all the way to 2016. He and his wife had divorced by this time and he started seeing her when that process started. They were sneaking around for over a year. She would take days off work to go F at his house. She bought him hundreds of dollars in gifts and neglected our own bills. There are photos and videos of them having sex. There were photos of her making out with him while our youngest was sitting next to her. She would lie and say she was out with friends, but they would spend most of the day together and would be effing in his car or hers. In 2016 she left me for him. She told me that she loves him and wants to be with him. He later dumps her to get back with his wife. I take her back. 1 month after I took her back she got pregnant. I know she only did it to pretend she wanted to make our relationship work, but my now former friend's wife tells me that she was still trying to reach out to him just a few weeks before. I smile through what is left of our now sham marriage, as we are soon to have 3 children. By this point we have moved back in with my parents. It's now 2017. We have the baby. Later in that year she started to work for Uber and Lyft. She has affairs with 2 men while she is doing this, but I don't find this out until much later. It's now 2018. Video gets posted from a coworker at another job she has of her effing her boss in her car in the work parking lot. She only knew this guy for not even 2 weeks. She was in love with him too. I am humiliated and she makes FB posts demanding that I defend her by putting my business out there to make sure that everyone knows how flawed I am. I don't do this, but in the end I take her back. In December she sent me a text of how much she loves me and wants us to work, says she will never cheat again and that we are going to work on us. Fast forward to 4/14/2019. I got an anonymous text from a woman with pictures of my wife's privates and her saying to tell her to stay away from her man. Included were screenshots of her talking to yet another guy, not even 2 months after she was cheating with her boss. The affair was still going on. I find out this time that she has been effing my 60-year-old neighbor. She denied having sex, but they only kissed. My effing ass. At this point, I tell her that we won't be having sex. We will stay together for the children, but that I was done being in a fake loving marriage. She still denies any serious wrongdoing, as if kissing our neighbor wasn't a bad thing. She says she won't talk to him. Fast forward to March 2019. She apparently has secretly been using Instagram as she was having yet another affair. This time she is effing the coworker of my former best friend. She apparently effing him within 2 weeks of knowing him. They were meeting up at her job and they effed in cars. She also effed him inside her job, just like she did with my former friend. She also told this guy she was in love with him. He later drops her and tells her that he doesn't have time to continue to eff her. I take her back. Fast forward to June 2019. I found the secret texting program she was using to talk to the neighbor. Turns out they were effing a lot. They never stopped talking after I found out about them, and they apparently had been seeing each other for damn near a year. She sends him pictures, videos, told him that she loved him more than me, that she knows what true love is because of him, that she thinks about him constantly. I find out that she would eff him in his house, his car, her car, our front porch, at her job. She would lie about when she got off work to go meet up with him and eff. I take her back. Fast forward to now. I am a broken man. We have an anniversary coming up soon and she will say what she has been saying to me for 11 years. She loves me. She only wants to be with me. She never wants to cheat again. She doesn't mean it. I am 40 years old. I don't have the energy to fight with her, divorce her, deal with her craziness. I have to accept the fact that I have a chronically unfaithful wife. She doesn't know what love is. She will lie to my face. She has called me the N-word. She has talked crap about me to her lovers and mocked me behind my back as she was having her affairs. She involved my children in her effery. I stay for my kids at this point. Our marriage is a crap show, but I want them to at least think they have a stable household. Please use this as a cautionary tale. My wife has cheated on me with at least 10 other men. Hell, 3 of the guys she cheated on me with were in the same year. That's almost 1 for every year that we have been together. I suspect there have been many more. I am miserable all the time and depressed. I have sex with her maybe 6 times a year. I don't have friends anymore as they have all been run off by her crazy. My whole neighborhood, family, and friends know that she is a cheater. I am now an object to be pitied. If you have more strength than me, please leave. No man or woman deserves to be put through what I have been put through. Story 3. I think wife might be cheating. I have recently been starting to wonder if my wife might be cheating, but I'm not sure what to do from here. I have no smoking gun for evidence, so I don't want to confront her or bring it up in case nothing is happening, or to have her cover things up. It has just been small things in a spidey sense. About 4 months ago she started working out a lot more and became much more interested in how she looks. She is very attractive but never really wore much makeup or did much with her hair. She has also started being protective with her phone, which I know is a bad sign. It is normal for us to go into each other's phone, but no, it never leaves her side, and if I ask for it to take a picture or something, she will tell me to use mine. She has also been staying late at work more often and has been taking a few more out-of-town trips for work. In the last 4 months she hasn't initiated any kind of intimacy and only gives me pecking type of kisses. I tried to initiate with her a handful of times and she rejected me a few times, and a few times she let me go through with it but wasn't engaged and just laid there. It made me feel really bad, worse than getting rejected outright. I brought up the lack of intimacy a while back and she said that she was exhausted all the time from being a mom, work, and lifting weights. She said that she would try to do a better job and kissed me later that night, but nothing has changed. I have wondered if it might be some kind of midlife crisis kind of thing. There is a guy at her work that I am thinking could be trouble. My wife used to talk about him a lot, but a few months ago she quite mentioned him. But I know they still work closely together. From what I can gather, he is married with kids and told my wife that he is having marital issues. I met him briefly a few times and he basically ignored me. He isn't nearly as attractive as me and definitely not in great shape like me. I am big and strong and he is kind of average and a little overweight. But he dresses flashy and is outgoing and likes to drink. I graduated high school and he has a master's degree. He also makes a lot more money than I do. I train fighters and love what I do, but make a very modest living. This guy probably makes 6x what I do and flaunts what he has. I just bring up all that as my assessment of how we differ. The biggest thing that I have been wondering about is that this last trip for work was at a tropical resort type of place, and my understanding at the time was that there were a big group of them going. It turns out that it was just my wife, the flashy guy, and the CEO. The CEO is very old and doesn't really interact socially. He is just all business. In my imagination, my wife and this other guy spent a lot of time together over that week doing who knows what. My dilemma is that I want to see if my gut feeling is right, but don't want to cause a bigger issue by accusing her of asking. We have had a few ups and downs over the years but have had a pretty good overall marriage from my side. No major issues or anything. I am not the most outgoing guy and I don't make much money, which has been a small issue for my wife. She says I am not living up to my potential and I could make a lot more money doing something else. I don't want to make it sound like she is obsessed with money in any way, but I know women are more comfortable with a bigger nest egg. She thinks I can do other things, but I am not really qualified for anything other than fighting or training fighters. That's basically been my entire life. or possibly being a personal trainer. None of those things are big money makers. But other than those things, she seems pretty happy. A friend of mine said I should keep my suspicions to myself and start doing things to spy and collect evidence, if it's there. But I feel weird about violating her privacy. If she is cheating, I can't imagine I would ever stay with her. I hope I am wrong about all of this, but thoughts of her cheating are starting to flood my mind and I feel like I need to find out either way. We have 2 kids and that is the part that scares me. I am involved in every part of my kids' lives and my heart would be broken to only see them half the time. Sorry for the long post. I would love to hear some ideas on how to deal with this. Update. So here is the newest information. I was able to get the login information for our cell phone account. She uses her phone a lot for work and nothing looked weird until I started sorting the numbers and times. There were a ton of texts to one specific number at times very late at night. I am going to see whose number that belongs to and find a way to get into her phone and see what name it is saved under. After I saw this, I started to get emotional and angry. I tried to tell myself it could be a mistake or some girlfriend of hers. Last night I tried to initiate, expecting to be rejected. And rejected I was. She said she was sorry but was too tired and had a headache. I told her that I was feeling like we weren't connecting very well. She said she is sorry and will try to be better. She said that last time. I didn't push the issue or anything, just told her goodnight and went to bed. This morning she told me she was thinking about taking a girls' trip to Vegas. I asked who she would go with and it was a few girls I never met. Apparently friends from college. Maybe all this is a coincidence but a lot of stuff is looking weird. Update 2. I laid in wait last night after everybody went to bed. I pretended to be asleep and waited to see if she got out of bed to get on her phone. Sure enough, she gets up a little after midnight and goes into another room and closes the door. I waited a few minutes and I got up and quickly opened the door and walked up to her and said I couldn't sleep and asked what she was doing. I caught her mid-text and was standing over her too fast for her to delete anything. I watched her hand as she slowly tried to tuck the phone away. She said she couldn't sleep either and was texting a girlfriend. I had a plan and went into it. I got on top of her and started kissing her and asked if she wanted to fool around. As I expected, she said she couldn't. So I started laughing and tickling her and made a comment that she must be more into the girlfriend that she was texting than me. Then I started to playfully wrestle with her and got the phone. I could see the panic in her eyes. She tried to get it back from me but I turned away and held it in the air, like I was playing keep away. I was laughing and acting like I was having fun the entire time. I told her that I was going to call this girlfriend and ask if she was into my wife. My wife yelled out, "Please don't call her." I started walking away and pulled up the text messages and I saw one that said, "Can't wait to see you tomorrow." I pressed the call feature and it seemed like it took forever, but sure enough the guy answered. I hadn't planned out what to say so I just hung up. Then I started reading through the texts in front of my wife. I asked her if she thought her girlfriend answered, or a guy. She didn't say anything. Then I started reading off the texts out loud and asked her why she was sending this to a guy at night. She said she didn't know. I asked her if she needed to tell me anything. She was quiet. Then I told her that I had looked at the cell phone records and knew everything. I knew when she would wake up to text this guy and that I knew who the guy was. She started crying and saying she was sorry. I kept my cool. I explained that the next few minutes were very important and if she didn't tell me the complete truth that there would be severe consequences. She said she started flirting with her coworker and that he was having marital issues and it turned into flirting. She said she never did anything with this guy. My fear was she would only admit to what I already knew. I told her that if she can't give me the entire truth that she needed to pack a bag and leave. She agreed to do that, as she cried and said she was sorry. Before she left the house she asked if I was going to leave her. I told her that it was late and we would discuss that later. She left for her mom's house and I haven't seen her since. But she was blowing up my phone so I turned it off. My plan is to try to find a marriage counselor and make an appointment. I want my wife to think I want to work things out for a while until then, when I will explain that I am at counseling to get through the process of splitting up. This entire incident last night was something I had planned out in my head. Since I was pretending to wrestle with her and tickling her, I wanted to cover myself. So I recorded everything with my phone, just in case she tried to accuse me of something. I asked my friend if recording in our state was legal and he said it was. I don't think she would ever falsely accuse me of anything, but if I am leaving her, she might get desperate. I am 6'4" and athletic, 240 pounds. I am also an ex-fighter and now train fighters. So if there is any accusation of abuse I will not be believed and will get arrested and lose my kids. So my plan is to record everything from here on out just as an insurance policy. I am completely heartbroken right now. My entire family has been blown up. I will miss 50% of my kids' lives growing up and feel destroyed. I had suspected something but am still in shock. The worst part is that this is all just beginning. I want to confront the other guy but will need to restrain myself. I was told that he said I looked terrifying when he first saw me, so I would like to scare him. I also saw that he referred to me as the animal in one of the texts, after she made a comment about me not being too bright. I don't make much money or have a college degree, but I am an intellectually curious person and read lots of books about all sorts of topics. I am not the smartest guy, but I feel like I am not stupid. I will try to update as things go on. Not sure what advice I can get at this point. I am just devastated. Update 3. I appreciate all the support I have received through this ordeal. I am going through a lot right now and wish I have had the time to respond to the advice and words of encouragement passed my way. To update, my attorney friend was able to recommend a lawyer that specializes in family law. Not only that, but supposedly this guy was also cheated on, and these cases allow him to exact revenge. He is going to be very flexible on his fees and genuinely wants to help. Maybe this is on the positive side of the ledger. Now onto the other side, my wife admitted to the affair. She told me that it started as flirting, then turned into an emotional affair, but never turned physical. I saw right through that, and then she finally admitted that it turned physical, which coincided with the point in time when she shut down intimacy with me. I got a lot more details than I thought I could take. It was a very hot and steamy affair. To say this has really messed me up would be an understatement to the highest degree. I am wrestling with my emotions and can't keep a thought in my head. I told my wife it would be best for her to stay with her mom for the time being and that I will take care of the kids so they can be at home and have some stability. My attorney is working his magic in the meantime. I am in the house and this is a big advantage, according to him. I have also not told her that our marriage is over. She will find that out when she has served the papers, which will be coming soon. I can't keep the intrusive images of my wife and this guy out of my head. I coach Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for professional and semi-professional fighters, and am trying to give them as much attention as I can. The physicality of my job seems to have been helpful. Obviously, I am also putting everything into my kids. Outside of BJJ, my passion is learning about new topics. I normally read for a few hours a night to unwind, but I haven't even been able to get through a paragraph without losing focus. After seeing that they were referring to me as a stupid animal, I imagine all the other things they may have said. The whole thing has really got to me. I have always been a happy person, but the joy is just gone. On another note, the word has got out on what has happened, and there have been a lot of people offering to assist in any way they can. It definitely helps to feel like I have support. A number of my friends' wives have sprung into action and said they know beautiful women that they want to hook me up with, including a few that know me and are very interested in my upcoming single status. I won't be dating until this is all over with, and probably not for a while after that. But knowing that there are a lot of options is a nice feeling. I think I will be okay. Right now, it's just all about the kids. I will try to update at some point soon. My wife is hysterical and is pushing to stay married. I know I can't get over what she did, so staying together would be delaying the inevitable. Update 4. Life has been chaotic, but I wanted to log back into this throwaway account and give an update on my situation. I had discovered my wife having an affair and also found out that she thought I was stupid and a loser for not earning a high salary. I filed for divorce and it should be wrapped up next month. We will have 50/50 custody and she will be paying spousal support, since she out-earns me by a large margin. That is the current legal situation. Now onto the other fallout. I am heartbroken, as are my kids. I never thought I would be a single dad, but here I am. My wife seems to be falling into some kind of depression. The guy she cheated with decided that she wasn't worth the trouble. From what I am told, she has started drinking and going out with a lot of random guys that she meets online. There have been more than a handful of times where she called me and begged me to take her back, so she can have her old life back. Part of me wanted it, but I have held strong. After she found out how much money she will have to pay me every month, that seems to have made her angry towards me. So I don't have to worry about her calling. My kids don't understand. Every second they aren't with me, I feel miserable. I am also lonely all the time. I haven't spent much time with friends and mostly just stay home. The girl that works at a coffee shop I frequent even asked me if everything was okay, because I looked sad. I guess I'm not hiding it as well as I think. There are people I know that want to set me up with women they know, but I don't want to do it because I feel like I am branded as the guy whose wife cheated on him. It has been so long, I have no idea how to date. I had a few fighters do really well on a pretty public stage, and that has been the only spark I have felt in a long time. I really don't know what I will do next. At some point, I need to snap out of it and move on. I just haven't reached that level of motivation though. I did have somebody I know get into contact with the other guy's wife and show her the proof I had. I just couldn't live with nothing happening to him. I am not allowed to go after him, so this was the next best thing. She didn't believe it at first, but then I heard about there being major marriage issues for them. As far as I know, they are together but on the rocks. I have a lot of anger over everything. It is crazy to think how life can be fine one minute, then completely upside down the next. One positive that has happened is that I did meet a girl through some friends that I am interested in. I haven't asked her out or anything though. She is stunningly beautiful but is about 14 years my junior. I don't know that's a major issue, but that is a pretty big age gap. Given what I have been through, I think my confidence has really been dinged. I feel like she is too attractive for me. She might actually be, I suppose. But I have been thinking about her a lot. So that's been the last half year of my life. I have to say it has been the worst I have ever felt. I have always been a very happy person but just feel dark and gloomy now. Update 5. I haven't been on Reddit in a very long time. I logged in and saw that there were some people asking for updates to my situation, so I thought I would let everybody know that I am doing well. Long story short, I found out my wife was cheating on me with a coworker. Then I divorced her. I was with her for about 15 years in total, so to say my new life has been an adjustment would be an understatement. I do have moments where I feel a sense of sadness or loss, but those are fleeting. For the most part, I feel great. My kids are doing well and they are with me a lot. One of the things that happened after the divorce was that my wife had to take in more accounts at work to pay for her new single living situation, as well as spousal support for me. When the pandemic hit, I had a very flexible schedule, so I was able to keep the kids with me and do homeschooling. Since my job involved physical contact with other people, the pandemic has slowed that down. So in a way, it has been like I am a stay-at-home dad. I took some time to myself after the whole ordeal. The younger girl I was interested in took a long assignment with her company in Europe. We stayed in touch through technology. After her assignment ended, she came back and we have been together ever since. She loves me and my kids. She is an extremely compassionate and considerate person. Before we were introduced, I was told that there was an amazing woman that resembled Wonder Woman and was the nicest person you could ever meet. I thought it was too good to be true, but she is absolutely the real deal. I think there will probably be some next steps in our relationship coming soon. Things for my ex haven't really worked out. She started drinking and hooking up with random guys she met online. Having to take more accounts has also taken a toll on her. Just in the last few years, she looks like she has aged 15 years. She was always pretty, but the last time I saw her she looked ragged. Like her life force was depleted. A weird thing to say, but that's what it looked like. Her best friend told me that she is miserable and hard to be around. I don't think I will ever understand how a person that is seemingly happy and in control of their life can spiral into such a dark place. My ex's friend did also tell me that she never thought I would leave her after the affair. I think she felt a sense of control over me because of her high income. So the affair had consequences that she didn't anticipate. I do hope she finds peace, for my kids' sake. Other than some challenges due to the pandemic, things are great. I am so glad I immediately ended my first marriage, rather than dragging it out. I knew I was making the difficult decision, but that it was the right thing to do. Then I just grinded along. I have no problem inching a little forward every day, knowing eventually I will get through. If you are in this situation, you need to think about things in the long term. You might feel devastated at first, then sad, then depressed, then hopelessness. But no matter what you push ahead, the key is to try to do one thing every day that improves you or adds to your skill set. I got into making short films of the guys I train and learned about videography and editing, which has been a fun hobby. I read more books to learn about all sorts of things. I just tried to do something every day. Small things add up over time. You just need to make sure you are putting in the work and let yourself be patient.